Asahi is a teenager who attempted to save a little girl from a car accident. He describes it as something that caused his body to move on its own. Unfortunately, he was hit and slumped beneath the automobile. Despite his luck, he was relieved that the girl was safe, but he worries about what his closest relatives, particularly his older sister, will think when they find out. He is drawn inside by a dazzling orb that suddenly appears, transferring him to an unfamiliar location. He sees some slimes, a castle, and a dragon there, and he believes he has been offered a second opportunity in another world. He instantly begins exploring the adjacent metropolis, comparing it to various video games he has played. And, after bumping into someone, he realizes that, despite the setting's European appearance, everyone here speaks his language. He observes a guild, a talent shop, and everything he's seen in his favorite games. As a result, his most exciting assumption is that he was reborn in a gaming world. But he's still a moron. He takes a selfie with his phone and considers how he'll contact people. Furthermore, he has no money or contact, and he has no idea how to act like a normal person in a different world. He was so taken with this new world that he shut off his phone and sold it for a hefty price, thinking it was a unique artifact. And with that money, he may purchase weapons and armor. As a true gamer, he prioritized agility and wore leather armor with a sword as his weapon. As he entered the guild, he asked the receptionist for a quest. Recognizing that this is his first time, she decides to explain everything and assist him in registering as an adventurer. She suggests him to go hunting for killer bunnies for his first adventure. They're low-rank creatures that are pretty much easy to kill. He gets all excited because it's his first mission. But to his surprise, he encounters a massive high-level wyvern. He believes it will be simple, but the monster begins following him while spitting fireballs, turning his battle for survival into a living hell. He avoids everything by chance and hides. He requires a plan as well as knowledge of his abilities and statistics. But it turns out that he has no stats and is just a common villager. He had assumed that when he was resurrected, he would begin with good numbers, but he was mistaken. Worse, his only ability is a level 1 stone throw. He has little choice than to put his life in the hands of that same expertise. He grabs a pebble, gathers all his strength, and propels it into the air. It barely moved 2 meters. Believe it or not, I suppose the incorrect person was reborn. The wyvern becomes agitated and decides to kill his prey. Fearing for his life, Asahi yelled out his sister's name, and to his surprise, she materialized in front of him. She grins as she stares at him, sensing that he has called for her. But the wyvern doesn't wait and hits her with many fireballs, causing a massive explosion. She escaped by jumping and felt a surge of power within her. Her body felt light. She slew the dragon with a single strike and the desire to protect her little brother, leaving him speechless. But she simply dismisses it as child's play. He had thought his sister was a hallucination, but she suddenly leaps on top of him, stating she missed him. Asahi wonders how she ended here in this world. She disclosed a stunning truth. He had not died in his prior universe, but was only in a coma. But she overheard him smiling and discussing being reincarnated in a new world. As a result, she thought his spirit had traveled to that new planet, and her love for him had drove her to slam her head against a wall until she died, then follow him to another realm. Asahi questioned his sister's strength, and she said that her continual fear for him gave her the ability to survive. Asahi assumed his sister knew the path back to their old planet, but was surprised to discover that she did not. He accepted this fact, though, and they resolved to live as siblings in this new world. Whereas his sister is overpowered, which makes him the side character. They've been working together in this world for a few weeks, and they're on a mission to kill 3 orcs who are utterly destroying a hamlet, leaving the residents terrified. The monsters effortlessly overpower the defenders and rejoice at their newfound power. A small child is hiding in between the buildings, pleading for her life in the midst of the turmoil. Suddenly, we see Asahi approaching these monsters. The monsters are fascinated by his bravery and want to know who he is. He also describes himself as an explorer. The monsters taunt him, but he is determined to show off his might and vanquish these heinous creatures. The trolls considered themselves unbeatable and mocked Asahi for being outnumbered. Asahi's sole reaction was to brace himself as the creature came at him. A sharp pebble rises from the floor and stabs the motionless orc in the belly. Maya uses the orc as a leaping stone once it is pushed into the air. I immediately use lightning magic to eliminate the second orc. Maya is staring at the final orc survivor, who is sitting on the ground, terrified for his life. She extends her hand and obliterates the orc, disregarding his pleas for mercy. Asahi claims to be merciless, yet she is unable to forgive the monsters. Asahi believes she cares for the deceased folks. However, she is only bad because they insulted her younger brother. Maya couldn't help but worry for Asahi's well-being as she cared to his scrape. She was all too familiar with the agony of injuries and didn't want her brother to go through the same ordeal. Maya took out a strong medicine designed for the last boss to cure his scratch, but Asahi insisted that a touch of spit would enough. He realizes his mistake as he looks at her face. The locals gathered, eager to hear about the hero who had rescued their hamlet. Suddenly, the young girl exclaimed it was Asahi who saved the day, and everyone begins to hail him as the great hero. Tanya, the receptionist, arranged a party for Asahi once he returned to the guild, as he had risen through the ranks quickly. Even though it was Maya who killed all the creatures, he was always given credit. She hands him a badge and tells him he can't sell or give it to anybody else since it's official identification. Furthermore, he should never lie about his range, otherwise he will lose his mind. Without any other way to save his life, he begs his sister to conceal her strength in order for him to appear powerful, and he requests that she disclose her data. She misunderstands and exaggerates her brother complex by exposing her 3 measurements. He explains the status windows to her but finds it unusual. He feels it's a mistake because she doesn't have any form displaying her metrics. But he notices something is awry when her level and ability stats are so high that they exit the status windows screen. He instructs her to never expose her status screen to anybody, while simultaneously feeling his dignity as a player who started off with no stats shattered. Suddenly, they heard a noise nearby. They decide to investigate and see the most famous adventurers' party, Clan Bamunk, a group so powerful that the kingdom organized a parade to greet them before they headed out to kill the demon ruler. When Asahi learns about the demon king, he becomes ecstatic. Nevertheless, his sister is baffled. So he quickly explains that it's the final boss, and usually the guy who lets them return to their world. She becomes agitated, but the store clerk who purchased Asahi's phone indicates the party leader's status. He's 2 ranks higher than Asahi and the most powerful adventurer in the area. But there are some who dislike him, such as that old man who is envious. The man begins to make a disturbance, wrecking an outside bar. In summary, the elderly man had the same rank as Asahi but was downgraded. But the store clerk is unconcerned because Asahi is present and strong. Everyone starts putting pressure on Asahi to act, but he's practically peeing his pants. With everyone shouting his name, the pressure mounts. And, like the orc, the old man has the brilliant idea to insult Asahi. His sister obviously dislikes it and wishes to convert him into old ground meat. But Asahi cannot risk being discovered, so he tells Meyer about his secret plan while promising to do anything she asks. He then starts walking forward, acting like a naughty lad. In short, he threatens and abuses the elderly gentleman. The guy refused to take it and charged him like a monkey. However, Asahi simply moves his arm as if drawing a line between them, and then there's a large fracture in the floor. He's weak, as you know, and it was certainly his sister who did it. The old guy flees like a chicken, begging for his life, and everyone cheers and yells Asahi's name as a new hero. By the end of the day, he is relieved that he has not been exposed. But his sister is the most happy, and he has completely forgotten about his promise to do anything. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and watch my other videos if you're into my content.